Okay. All right. Good morning. As a preliminary matter, this is John Brescher, the chair of the Town Government Study Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and accounted for, and that everyone can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Rick Atherton.
Yes.
Campbell Sutton.
Here.
Linda Williams.
Here.
I think we're expecting Tucker, but he's not here yet. There is no staff and we have no anticipated speakers on the agenda. Good morning. This open meeting of the Town Government Study Committee is being conducted remotely consistent with Governor Baker's executive order on March 12, 2020 due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Town Government Study Committee is convening by video conference via the Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded to the cloud and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Meeting materials. All supporting materials have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. Public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I, the chair, notes otherwise. All right, ground rules for the meeting. We're now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting names. I, the chair, will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. And further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. And please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. For items with public comment, after the members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names, be acknowledged, and by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken will be conducted via roll call vote. Okay, so let's.
Good job.
Thanks. All right, so let's get. Thank you. So first item on the agenda is the call to order. It was 10:05 with the Town Government Study Committee. May I please have an approval of the agenda as written?
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. I'll do the roll call vote. Rick Atherton.
Aye.
Campbell Sutton.
Aye.
Linda Williams.
Aye.
And the chair, John Brescher, votes aye as well. Terrific. Okay, next item on the business, the approval of the minutes of July 8th and September 2nd. I've not had a chance to draft the September 2nd meetings. I believe Rick and Campbell, you had some comments on the July 8th meeting. I don't know if you've ever circled back on those. If not, let's put that one on. I'd say put it on our next to do.
We got to get in gear here.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so we'll punt those to the next meeting. All right, next item is, really sort of the big item is the finalization of the update to the select board. Thank you those who sent in their comments. I sent the quote clean copy around. At this point, I mean, basically it was just compiling all the comments and trying to clean it up as best I could in terms of formatting, etc. I will just add quickly that I think one or two members of the select board reached out to Libby to ask us for an update as well. So hence sort of us jumping on this. I'm not sure what that's going to mean in terms of whatever warrant articles are to be submitted. I mean, with citizens articles being due on the 13th, I don't know. I'm rather curious what type of citizens articles we're going to get this year. It seems earlier than usual. But hey, we'll see. Yes, Campbell.
Well, I approve of what you wrote for the final draft, what we were just speaking of. The only input I had was for a closing statement or a paragraph of some sort.
Okay.
Having to do mainly with, there are certain things that we may have a finding for. Is that correct?
I think so. Rick, were you gonna add something?
Well, I
Huh?
just, I'm sorry to be late to the game on a couple of these, but can I just have two comments as we?
Sure.
These aren't big things, but on the first page, talking about the ad hoc poll,
Yes.
because we're including the poll results.
Yep.
I think it might be helpful just to insert here, maybe how many there were, and because the dots have different, people won't know what the hell this is. And since
Okay.
the dots have different colors, positions, but I think they're supposed to be on island, off island voters, or whatever the hell that was.
I think one was non-voting taxpayers was,
What I'm suggesting is we add a key someplace.
Sure.
So anybody who says, well, that's interesting, what is it?
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I had 27, if 26 of them are non-voters, just to pick a number.
Yeah.
So I think a chart, it could go in that exhibit, that just a legend.
That sounds.
I'm happy to work on that if you want to. I'm sure.
I was going to
Tucker-
say, that sounds like an excellent job for Tucker, who was, handling this. And if you want to coordinate with him, that's fine. But I think that's a great idea. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's,
I think he's
It's
got
good
it
for clarity.
already. So, okay.
okay.
I think a lot of the people that,
Yes, Lynn.
were at those meetings, I knew a lot of them, but some of the Frisbees I've known for years. But I think most of the people that had good comments there were non-voting taxpayers, which we have to pay attention to.
I think that's right.
Linda, I'm not saying don't pay attention to. That wasn't my comment.
No,
My
I know, but I
comment
think
was
it's
just to make
interesting
the-
that they were.
Yeah, no, they were, well, we've been through this. I just think they were very frustrated with
Yeah.
a lack of response from the town. So they came to us.
That's the best way to go, because I think, I've said this many times. I think we need to pay attention more and have them have a seat at the table somehow, because we're spending 80% of their money.
Campbell, yes, I see your hand raised.
so I just wanted to continue with what you were speaking of in terms of the legend that would go with the poll, not the poll question, but with the dots. And so Tucker and Alan are going to
Rick.
do that. I'm just thinking, when do we want that by? I think if we need to get this out, I'd like to see it go out ASAP.
So I can give me a second. I can actually add some flavor to that, because I was trying to back in dates with Libby, because she wants us to be on the meeting on the 18th, I believe. And so as long as, yes, so basically we have until the 12th to get the material in. So we have a week.
Because I know how good we all are at having other things to do. I know I'm at it. So I was just trying to sort of,
Yeah.
can we allow this at all?
It's a slightly, it would be, how about this? It would be, not to set just an arbitrary deadline, but it would be nice to have everything by, say, Monday.
Okay.
Because, it'll be most helpful if the select board actually has time to read it and review it.
I know. And so as long as we get in by the 12th, it'll meet their packet. We can put in their
Okay.
packet.
Sounds good.
All right, next comment, John?
Yeah.
Again, I don't mean to be late, and this isn't critical to go in, but I think it would be helpful. On page 3, you might want to number the pages, but anyway, page 3.
Oh, good
the
call, Rick.
Item number 5,
Yes, sir.
the third line says, select board is empowered.
Yep.
And then the last sentence seems almost a little redundant, but anyway,
Okay.
is also within the purview. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of saying
Yeah.
the same thing.
I'm happy to get rid of that last sentence. I mean,
Yes, I
it's
also
words.
think it would be nice if we knew how they were empowered the say-so? In other words, is it
Oh,
they have the power of delegation? I'm not sure what it is or where we heard that. I remember we heard it
yeah,
someplace.
I do too. Yes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rick, please.
No, that's okay. That's my point.
Okay. Yes, Campbell.
Well, I would like to see us not nitpick, because again, this is not the final report. If there are some things, some areas within this report that we think we'd like to have further comment on, that could maybe be in the closing paragraph, but I don't want to get too nitpicky, John, because I really feel like you've put a ton of effort into this. And
We all did. Thank you.
Yeah. Look, as I say, I'm not sure it has to be in here. I'm just sort of pointing out.
Yeah,
So we
no, I-
all know.
I mean, we edit, but
And that's it, John.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any other comments on this lovely document? Other than Cam, so we have the addition of a chart, which I think makes all the sense in the world for, or excuse me, a key or a legend, whatever you want to call it, for the poll questions. Makes all the sense in the world. I think that's great for Rick and Tucker to take a crack at that. We had the edit to paragraph 5, and then Campbell's suggestion of a sort of a closing paragraph, right? Any other comments or suggestions at this point?
John, not a suggestion for the memo, but just in presentation.
Yep.
My guess is, although I don't know, is when you submit this, it's going to be easier for the board to put a PDF as opposed to a JPEG, but I don't know that. And we can convert those to PDFs or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, what I can do is I can ask Erica how she wants to do it, because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to, I'm happy to send one giant PDF. I'm also happy to send like 6 or 7 PDFs. So each
John, we lost your audio. John, lost your audio.
hear me
Yeah, now.
now? Okay, sorry, it's getting too fired up, I guess.
Anyway, I'm not really into that. I just sort of mentioned that.
Okay. Okay, so I guess the question is, do we want to try to take a crack at a conclusion paragraph, or maybe this makes a little more sense in light of needing to add the final we need to add the conclusion paragraph and to add the final legend. Rather than making the sausage now and trying to come together with a conclusion paragraph, do we want to just sort of work on the conclusion paragraph on our own and then recirculate for one final final document to say, yes, this is what we're going to submit?
Well, I'm still thinking the final paragraph that we should mention the fact that we've been waiting for 2 years for town council to review the charter, and we are awaiting that to see what changes she thinks we should make on a technical basis because of state law changes, et cetera, et cetera. I don't see how we can get around making that comment, because that's what we've been waiting for.
We hinted, it's funny, we hinted at that in the Parks and Rec, but we
I don't think we should hint anymore.
okay, that's fine. Yes, Campbell.
so what Linda is saying ties into, I think what we need to maybe think about is, of the 10, I believe we had 10 paragraphs on things that have been looked at. The ones that we want to emphasize that we're continuing to look at, I personally think Park and Recs is one of them. I have some comments under other business regarding that. And the town government study, I think that at the end of it all, we should, for our final presentation, we should reopen that with a stronger statement about gathering, but I think that can all be part of the closing. There were some things that were pretty final, like the airport
Yep.
piece, the sewer commission, the HD, there was a lot of finality
Yep.
in there. That I think we want to continue to hash out or look over, get some feedback on, or something like that. What do you think, Linda?
I think we pretty much finessed. I don't think we should get specific in what we need town council for. Is that where you were headed, to be more specific?
No, I'm just thinking in a wrap-up paragraph, instead of making final conclusions in this one, other than the ones that are actually finalized.
Yeah.
To wrap them into the closing paragraph, saying that your strong statement about the charter review, which I do have some background information on that I didn't send to everybody, but I think the form of government is something that we also need to make a stronger statement on, but I think we can work that up between now and the final presentation, not this final report. I want to get this done, move on, and then get back to the essential pieces of what we're doing.
That's right. I'm just going to chime in for a second. So I think, and I'm also speaking for myself here, what I keep struggling with, frankly, is that I know the select board appointed us. I know we need to give an update to the select board. Our charge is to report to town meeting. And so I keep keep having to remind myself, say, okay, this is all well and good for the select board. And yes, they want to see this. Yes, they should know about this. But at the end of the day, what we're really gearing up for is town meeting. And that's where our final presentation is. We may give it to the select board as well, but they're not really our intended audience, or at least not per the charter. And it's tough, honestly, and I'm saying this just candidly, I struggle remembering that. Because I always think, oh yeah, absolutely, it's got to be the select board, and no, it's town meeting.
Right, that's why I just want to get this update out, because it's just an update to the people who appointed us on where we are with things. So
Exactly.
maybe the closing paragraph says something about the items that we plan on bringing in front of town meeting. I think we need to, this is going aside and I apologize. I don't like to do that. I want to sort of finalize this topic, but I think we need to relook at the Park and Rec. And personally, I've been thinking about a lot. I've been doing a bit of reviewing of my paperwork, and it just seems to me we should be maybe recommending that there'll be a whole rewrite, that the charter is so out of whack with what's going on that article needs to be removed, and something that actually reflects what's going on needs to go in its place. But that's a different discussion.
Right.
But that kind of thing would go to town meeting.
I
Same
think
with government study, because I think we had a question on the ballot where our responses are, the responses from the voters encouraged us to look further into these types of different types of government and how they might work. And then we were saying to the Board of Selectmen, which maybe isn't the right venue, we were saying to the Board of Selectmen, we think you should appoint another committee to look into this. And I'm not sure that that's the actual route we would go for changing that. I think there might need a citizens article or some, I think there's something with the town meeting that it would come to the floor for a vote.
I think that's right. And I'll be honest too. I did ask Libby in one of my emails where I said, hey, I have to ask this for my own curiosity. Is there any scuttlebutt? Is there any talk from up at the State House about the governor in response to the pandemic saying, stop open town meeting? You need to find a different form of government. We don't want everybody in one room at the same time. And she said she hasn't heard anything. I don't know if I'm a cynic or whatever, but I wouldn't be totally shocked if we hear, unless things get drastically better, if we hear something from up high in the state about what we should be doing for town meeting.
Yeah, so far he hasn't touched it, except to except to reduce, I think, the quorum amounts that you have to have in order to pass stuff.
Yeah.
That did come down back in the spring.
Yeah. Yes, Rick.
So John, just to be clear, it would seem to me that that concern would apply to a representative town meeting as well, saying.
I think
everybody
you're right.
would go.
I think you're 100% right, Rick. And it's, like I said, I'm not sure if they have sort of put their heads in the sand about it, or they just don't think it's going to be an issue come spring. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a couple people in the back room saying, "Hey guys, we might want to start looking into asking towns not to do this or something else." I again wouldn't be surprised. Doesn't sound like anything's happening, but I'm sort of planting that seed now. Yes, Campbell.
So to that point, I think at least my read on the election results more globally say that this is gonna get out of hand, the COVID is going to get out of hand. Because the direction that the controlling bodies have gone in sort of tell you that we're not out of the woods on this thing at all. But I would, and also to the representative town government, I think that it would be easier than open town meeting because you'd have a certain number of delegates. You know what I mean? That's
Who knows?
why we would have to continue to look
Oh yeah.
and couldn't put a closing statement on that piece.
If we get there, yes, Rick.
Well, I was just gonna say, as I understand the representative, even though they have reps, everybody else is allowed to attend. So
Right.
it's not Campbell, as if nobody else goes, just to be clear.
It is a really sort of fascinating time that nobody knows what the heck's going on or what to do. And like I said, I just put that thought out there to Libby and said, is anybody from up high mandating the local towns what to do or strongly recommending? And it sounds like nothing as of yet. So I guess just stay tuned. And if nothing happens, then hey, nothing happens. But if so, I'll be happy to say, haha, remember this conversation back on November 4th? Okay, cool. So does anybody have anything else as it relates to the memo right now? Just circling back. If not, I don't know that I necessarily want a motion yet, only because, well, what do you think? Should we have a motion to have this subject to adding the chart and an acceptable concluding paragraph?
Correct.
We're good with that? Okay. I'll buy that. All right, can I have I think we're ready to make that motion and approve this draft to send to the select board subject to those two edits?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion made. Is there a second?
Second,
Second, beautiful, thank you. Any discussion on the motion from the committee members? If not, may I please have, well, all those in favor, please say aye. We'll do a roll call vote. Rick Atherton,
aye.
Campbell Sutton,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
Aye.
John Brescher, the chair votes aye as well. All right, thank you all very much. All right, so next item on the agenda, so to speak, is any other business. Anybody have any other business? Yeah, Campbell?
Yeah, just hinting at what I had been speaking of earlier. I had found in my Park and Rec, when I was on that board, we had town council look into what the responsibilities were for the Park and Rec Commission. At that time, and it had gone through Libby's office, and Mr. Giorgio replied, finding anomalies within the charter, and had suggested that those be rectified, but that the 2007 amendments or changes would be the controlling portion of it. In his view at that time, I think it was 2014, somewhere in there, and that the Park and Rec Commission only had controlling purview over Jetties Beach, Children's Beach and picking up trash at Mattakit. I believe it was Mattakit. I commented Mattakit. And some other correspondence I had that went further back had confirmed those three. And so as I got to thinking about all of this, and that's why I'm putting it out there, it just seemed to me that a lot of the tension that's currently happening between what we perceive of as Park and Rec and what Park and Rec has a lot to do with what happened to it. In other words, I don't think that article or charter actually reflects anything anymore. It seems to me that the under the 2007 situation, that the recreational piece of scheduling and everything has been divided up between the Nantucket Community School, the Visitors Services, Amy Baxter's group, which I think is licensing and events or something like that, and some to the Chamber of Commerce. And I think that's where the recreation piece went. And I think that the parks piece went to the DPW under their maintenance plan. And so I think we have the wrong names going, and I think all that needs to be changed around. I would like to see some form of a change. I would think of it as a warrant article creating a parks division, or talking to the DPW to see about having a arm of it being a parks department, if you will, but headed by or overseen by someone who's very knowledgeable in the maintenance of parks, playing fields, beautification, because I know that there are courses and that kind of thing, just like there are for golf courses and things like that, sports fields. And so I would like to see someone in charge of the overall parks. I had sent to Rick, I believe, one in 2014, I think it was, I did a large chart of all the parks and beaches and who oversees each one and what kinds of facilities each one has. And so anyway, I think you could hire summer staff from these schools, that could be doing apprenticeships or something like that, that could help out. And that during the winter, perhaps the staff that it has charge of what I'm calling a parks department or section of the arm of the DPW, the full-time people to that could then be, brought back into the larger DPW with fulfilling other aspects of the DPW that occur during the winter when there might be less demand and fewer summer hires. So DPW as a whole would be looking for, I don't know if what I said made sense, but so I'll take any questions on that.
We're not planning on putting any of this in this memo, correct?
Not right now.
Okay.
It doesn't have anything to do with the memo. This is under other business.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out what I have
So,
sort of conclusion on. I mean, 2014, or it was maybe even before that, town council recommended to the town that they clean up the language in that charter, and they have not done that. And they've had at least 6 years of notification from town council, and that has not been cleaned up. And in those 6 years, the whole thing has fallen apart even further. I mean, right now, the way the Park and Rec Commission is looking at Tom Nevers Fields isn't really even within their purview to do. So I just feel like there's too much. I think it's being used for a lot of stuff that the charter doesn't actually back up.
Yeah, I think this is gonna, oh, sorry. I think this is sort of an ongoing issue, and I'm actually just curious if anyone has heard if, I mean, we know that, is it Linda Zola who submitted the article?
Yes.
No, it was Cheryl Emery.
Oh, okay. For some reason I thought the two of them weren't working in tandem, but whatever. Do we have,
Marie-
has there been any scuttlebutt or any rumblings of another article coming for this? Okay, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, Rick. Oh, Rick, you're still muted.
Right.
There you go.
Just to be clear, the article about establishing a park and rec director or whatever was from Maria Zota.
There
Maria
it is.
Zota, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I mean, it's something we're going to have to keep our eye on. I'm curious again. I don't know what was going to happen sort of the 2 weeks leading up to town meeting, the originally scheduled town meeting last year before COVID hit us and threw us all for a loop. I don't know if the town has changed their position at all on Parks and Rec. I thought they were going, and this could just be my opinion, I thought they had some sort of plan in place, whether or not that was going to be effective. And they thought, well, if we do this, then we don't have to worry about that article. But I don't know. I haven't heard anything. And I guess we should probably keep our ear to the ground on that. Rick, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, I think they opposed the article. Whether they had something else in mind is something else. In some ways, they're two different issues. Because if they have something else in mind, they can do it anytime.
Well, that's it. I mean, I think you're right, but I don't know. And it would be nice. It'll be nice to see what it'd be nice to know if they have a plan, and we'll see what the plan is. I mean,
Yep.
that's all we can
Well,
say.
John, they don't seem to be very forthcoming at all with this.
Yeah.
And to your point, we're representing town, we're to present to town meeting. And at this point, Libby continues to be the controlling entity. And nobody likes to go up against her. So, that's how control
Right.
is taken
Well-
passively.
Well, I think this is good for other business. I think it's something that we need to keep our eye on no matter what. And I think it's I don't know if I can say it's a work in progress, but I feel like it is continuing to. It's something that's not going to go away, and that has been made abundantly clear for the last, I'd say, about year now. That this is not an issue that's just going to be swept under the rug. And that there's a great deal of scrutiny, whether it be from our committee, whether it be from the town, or whether it be from the public in general. But there's called a demand for satisfaction. And I don't see this issue going away until everybody is sort of happy with it. That's my sense. And I think it's going to be interesting to see over the next 5 months what sort of solutions people come up with. Solutions between the warrant article, whatever town council has reviewed, and whatever the town is looking at, and how they can reconcile all three of these things. Because like we said, it's not going away.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other business? If not, let's see. I think then we have the date and the time of our next meeting. I'm thinking we're gonna be looking into December, and the reason why I say that, no, we're not looking at December. We're looking at November.
God, we're in November already.
I know we're in November already.
The 12th, November 12th is our deadline for submitting this piece. Then we're being invited to the select board on the 18th. So we
Yep.
would need if we're a quorum there, then we need to
Post?
set that meeting, correct?
I think so. I think we have to call, I think we have to just, yes, we have to call it as a public meeting.
Meeting or
Yeah, not
something,
a hearing.
right?
Um,
And
Okay.
then the other one, I'm just saying that you might
Right.
have something
So-
in between.
all right, so here's the question of the day then. Do we want to try to meet on the 12th before I submit everything to the town, or do we just want to schedule our next public meeting for the 18th?
Look,
I
I
think
don't mind scheduling it. We don't have to have it. We can always
right,
cancel it.
well-
Up to anybody else,
I think we are in our motion. We already approved the memo,
did.
so if we all give a thumbs up on the memo, not as a to all, but
Yep.
as an individual thing, then we wouldn't necessarily have to have a meeting for that. And maybe we want to figure out what we're saying to the select board, or are we just there for questions?
I feel like we're there for questions.
Okay,
But-
great.
That's my 2 cents. I mean, I'm kind of hoping that the memo is gonna speak for itself and then they'll ask questions to us if they haven't. I assume they're gonna have some, but I think that's.
Okay, then the final sentence on the paragraph
Okay.
is we will be available at
Yeah,
your,
right, at your beck and call. And,
or for further questions.
right,
And
We need town council.
yeah, hint, right. Okay, well, why don't, in that case, if I'm hearing everybody correctly, why don't we we'll schedule a Zoom public meeting for November 18th, and we'll be in touch before then.
that's I think the meeting starts at 5 o'clock.
Okay,
Meeting-
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I thought the other one started at 4 last week.
I'll check with
Starts at 4.
I'll check with Libby and Erica, and I'm hopeful, perhaps delusionally so, but I'm hopeful that we'll be pretty early on in the agenda.
Well, that would be nice, or it's a short agenda.
Would be nice.
9 pagers are misleading, 3 hours later, you're like, I thought there were only 9 pages.
Mhm.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, all right, in that case, I'll work on scheduling that with Erica. And may I have, at 10:45, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. motion
Second.
made. Is there a second? Second. All right,
Second.
we'll do a roll call vote for all in favor. Rick Atherton,
aye.
Campbell Sutton,
Aye.
Linda Williams,
Aye.
John Brescher, the chair votes aye as well. All right, everyone, thank you very much.
Back to watching MSNBC.
Good luck. All right, take care, everyone.